One of these is hemp, the other is pot. One is legal, the other's not. Can you tell the difference? Problem is, law enforcement's having a tough time as well, and that is causing problems for Ohio's legal system. This afternoon, Ohio Attorney General David Yost announced his office would pay for prosecutors to send drug samples in felony-level cases to private labs because state-run labs just don't have the right equipment. In this News 5 original, Kevin Barry shows us exclusive video of how it's affecting court cases and explains why a solution is still months away.
In a courtroom in Lorain County, this Ohio State Highway Patrol officer shows how the state is struggling to catch up with its own laws.
Are you aware, do you have experience with the odor of hemp? I'm not sure what hemp is, so.
The officer also admitted he didn't know if hemp looked different from marijuana and hasn't had any training about the differences between the two. The lawyer questioning him was Ian Friedman.
The trooper that we're speaking to, it's not his fault. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing every day and doing what he's taught to be done. This is the higher-ups.
The problem is that hemp and marijuana are not very different. They both come from a similar type of plant, smell the same, and can be found in a green leafy form. The only real difference is how much THC is present. THC is the part of marijuana that makes you high.
If I were to suggest to you that that was hemp material, the green leafy material, you would not be able to tell me one way or the other whether or not that's true or not, correct? We would have to wait for results from the crime lab.
But the state's attorney general says Ohio's crime labs can't tell the difference either. Their equipment can only tell if THC is present, not how much there is. And since legal hemp can have a small amount of THC, it can trigger a positive test result.
This was set up to fail.
Friedman's talking about Senate Bill 57, which the governor signed into law last month. It legalized hemp, but not marijuana. And Friedman says it didn't have the proper due diligence from the state.
There's been no real thought behind this. Everything that the state of Ohio has done has been reactive.
The Cuyahoga County prosecutor agrees. In a statement, he told News 5 that those concerns were provided in advance to the bill's sponsor and other leaders in the State House, and they were ignored. The governor's office points out that the recent budget bill set aside almost $1 million for new equipment. Still, Friedman says it puts law enforcement officers in a bind.
And now you've got law enforcement that are just trying to do their job on the streets that are going to have to accept what people are telling them and perhaps let them go.
Days before thousands of tourists flock to downtown Cleveland, some busy sidewalks are crumbling.
Yeah, we're sure you've seen them. Cones mark some spots where bricks are uneven along Euclid Avenue. These gaps in the pavement along Superior Avenue are right next to a bus stop. And both locations are blocks away from the All-Star Weekend events in downtown. News 5's Kevin Barry explains how no one has been taking responsibility for the sidewalk in this News 5 original.
Along one of downtown Cleveland's busiest sidewalks on Euclid Avenue,
well, it doesn't look good, for one.
Big holes are filled up with cones to keep people like Allison Francis from twisting an ankle.
I just want to be able to, look up and enjoy, but I can't, trust the sidewalk.
Across Public Square, Michael's hot dog stand gives him the perfect vantage point to see this different stretch of sidewalk. When we spoke to him last summer, Michael knew it was a problem.
There's a lot of people that walk back and forth to these bus stops. I've seen people take nasty falls.
A year later, nothing has changed.
This should have been fixed about 5-6 years ago, to be honest with you.
When we told the city about this sidewalk in 2018, they told us they'd inspect it by the end of the summer. When we asked the city what they were doing about the sidewalk on Euclid and this stretch on Superior, they cited a city ordinance saying the sidewalk is actually the property owner's responsibility. When we called the parking lot owner, they said it's the city's responsibility to maintain. This sidewalk is just a few blocks away from Progressive Field, and these divots sit between parking lots and where thousands of visitors are going to be walking over the next few days.
Those people that go and pay good money also come and walk through here.
The city tells me they're wrapping up a long review process about what kind of work needs to be done in this part of the city, and that citations for these sidewalks are apparently coming soon. The property owner tells me if they had gotten citations before now, they would have challenged them in court because they're so confident it's the city's responsibility to maintain.
We've showed you these gaps in a sidewalk near Public Square and asked the city why they aren't getting fixed. Well, we just learned the city has issued citations.
Now, in this News 5 original, our Kevin Barry explains how it could still be a little while before they are fully fixed.
The holes in the sidewalk along West Superior are so big you can easily fit your feet inside or trip as you walk down the sidewalk. We asked the city earlier this summer what's being done to fix these crumbling sidewalks, and we got their reply. Their only record of it are these citations and inspections done after we first told you about the holes.
It would be easily get flipped.
Jerry Ward's back problems keep him in a wheelchair. This stretch of sidewalk along West Superior makes it hard for him to catch the bus.
You got to duck these holes or it'll flip a power chair or a manual chair that I'm in.
Michael says he's run his hot dog stand along Superior for the last 9 years, and he's been complaining about the sidewalk for just about as long. But he says nothing has changed.
This should have been fixed about 5-6 years ago, to be honest with you.
Except we now know, a few days after our first story aired, the city did inspect the patch of sidewalk on Superior we were asking about. These citations say about $110,000 worth of work has to be done. City code says the parking lot owner is on the hook and has 30 days to appeal or contact the city to plan out repairs. The parking lot owner tells us they plan to appeal the citations because they believe the sidewalk should be the city's responsibility. Just down the street, this stretch of sidewalk is getting fixed, and the city tells us it's the property owner who's paying for it after it was cited in 2017. This work just started this summer. We tried to reach out to the property owner to figure out why it took 2 years from the citation until now to fix this part of the sidewalk. We still haven't heard back. We reached out to some surrounding cities, and they all say it's also their policy to make property owners pay for repairs on the adjacent sidewalk, as long as it wasn't the city who created the damage.
Oh, there's a whole lot of new in one of Cleveland's oldest neighborhoods. New landlords, new construction, moving into Cleveland's Little Italy.
And not everyone thinks it's for the better. Only News 5's Kevin Barry explains why all this change is happening and what kind of future people see for the neighborhood.
Not much has changed in the century that the Holy Rosary Church chimes have washed over Little Italy.
I absolutely love this neighborhood. It's been my whole life.
Matteo Salvaggio owns Little Italy Wine.
We're an old-time neighborhood family. We've been here since the 1890s.
But now that University Circle has been built up nearby, Matteo says he fears that development is creeping into Little Italy too.
Developers feel that we just need a lot more people around.
The market's kind of shifted towards density.
Ray Christosic works to grow and protect the neighborhood.
And I think that the city has taken a position they want density as part of their development in the areas.
Right across the street from murals that show the Little Italy of the past, 40 new apartments will shape the community into the future. Just down the block from Matteo's wine shop, another 30 new units. While around the corner, another new project looks to create 66 new apartments. Michael Panzica's company is behind those last two, and he says you have to build bigger to make the projects worth it.
The cost of the overall development necessitates that sort of density.
Matteo doesn't mind the new people, but more tenants means more cars, and parking is already tight.
I just kind of wish that they would have taken into consideration a little bit how congested this neighborhood is going to get.
And Ray says history will show how much development is too much.
But, you know, by that time the buildings are up, it might be too late. You know, we don't know what that is.
Even where new buildings aren't rising up, new landlords are moving in.
Probably the biggest challenge is putting all the tenants at ease.
David Orloff and a few other local businessmen started Preservation Partners of Little Italy with a focus on the preservation. They're buying Matteo's building and the one across the street, where Pinello Gallery's sign shows they'll be leaving soon. David says a long-term lease at a rent adjusted for what that space in Little Italy is worth today just wouldn't work.
Things are happening. They understand it's going to enhance the value not only of properties that people own, but also it's going to command a different rent factor.
New buildings are not part of David's vision, but he says residents are projecting their fears about the big projects onto his.
And I think some of that overlap is why people are worried about what we're looking to do.
A new gelato store is coming into the space where the gallery is, but David says the point isn't to drive out the storefronts or the restaurants that make Little Italy so special, especially because it's what the new residents will want.
They want to be part of the shops, the restaurants, the bakeries, you know. So if you take all that away and you make it all that, I don't know what you become. You know, I mean, you've changed the whole dynamic.
Ray says he's still trying to find the line between preserving Little Italy and ruining it with too much development. Mateo says they're already dangerously close to crossing that line.
I kind of hate to say it this way, but I don't think Little Italy is going to be able to survive what's going on with the construction.
Because on a street that still closely matches what it looked like in the 1940s,
it's never going to be the Little Italy that I knew when I was growing up.
It doesn't take many additions.
It's going to change, and you're going to get that sense that, yeah, you're losing it.
Before the chimes fall on different scenery.
But you still have a very vibrant neighborhood.
Earth Fare posting this notice to customers days after News 5 found an illegal product for sale on the store's shelves.
We are talking about CBD oil. It's been heralded as the medicinal part of the cannabis plant, while THC provides the psychoactive part. That's the part that gets you high. Ohio's Board of Pharmacy said it can only be sold at medical marijuana dispensaries in our state, but Earth Fare, that's not the only place we found it for sale.
And in this News 5 original, only Kevin Barry is asking if CBD products can be bought over the counter. What's the purpose of the state's medical marijuana program?
Yes,
the symptoms of her Crohn's disease have left Mary Koenig looking for options to take care of the pain.
It's been a heck of a journey. I've been through a lot.
She says CBD products would help her, but
I believe, from what I know, it's illegal now?
It is. The Ohio Board of Pharmacy decided last August that any products with CBD in them should only be sold in the state's medical marijuana dispensaries. That means only patients who have gotten a recommendation and approval to enter these highly secure facilities can legally buy CBD.
Is that the same thing that I would get in Colorado?
Yeah. Unless you go to Lucky's Market in Cleveland or, until recently, Earth Fare in Fairview Park. Inside Lucky's, our hidden cameras found CBD readily available on the shelves and an employee happy to explain the benefits.
I took this one this morning and I can kind of still taste it.
How did it make you feel?
Great. I'm very level-headed.
But these products are currently illegal. Back in August, the Board of Pharmacy said CBD products should only be sold in dispensaries and force stores to take inventory off the shelves. The state wants no part of it, telling me they defer to local law enforcement to enforce the ban, which apparently happens sporadically. Earth Fare was selling CBD products until Fairview Park police shut them down. But a short drive away at Lucky's Market in Cleveland, the same CBD products are still on the shelves.
I particularly love CBD. This is my favorite aisle in the store.
For months, Ohio's medical marijuana control program only had raw marijuana flower available for patients. Oils, tinctures, and lotions just started showing up in dispensaries a few weeks ago. But Lucky's Market appears to have the products Ohio's highly regulated system still doesn't.
Oils, capsules, gummies, bombs, creams.
The stuff you find on grocery store shelves with CBD in it shouldn't get you high. That's different than what you can find at dispensaries, which mostly have THC products right now. But it makes it seem like the only reason to go to a dispensary is for the psychoactive effect.
They're both medicinal.
Dr. Bobby Abrams is one of the doctors who can recommend that patients get medical marijuana. She says those two main compounds within marijuana can work together.
The THC makes the CBD stronger, and the CBD helps prevent the high of the THC.
The products patients can get over the counter are not made in Ohio's medical marijuana control program. So experts say it's hard to tell how strong they really are, what's truly in those products, and how it could affect someone who takes it. Still, Dr. Abrams says those products can play a role alongside the state program.
You don't always know what you're getting. But I think for a lot of patients, I encourage them to try it over the counter, because if you do get a positive response to it, you'll get an even better response by using the medicinal version.
But under state law, this is all still illegal. In Cleveland, I'm Kevin Barry, News 5.
A bill is currently working its way through the Ohio State Legislature that could legalize CBD products. Lucky's Market refused a chance to talk to us on camera for this story. In a statement, it wrote, "As we've recently seen, the regulatory landscape at the state level around the purchase, sale, or possession of CBD products is continuously changing. We are currently consulting with our advisors and suppliers to understand and comply with state licensing laws."